What's up, YouTube? This your boy Nate coming at you once again with another video. Man, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. There's a lot of scandals that's going on in the NBA, particularly to gambling. Not a surprise. Not a surprise. Chauncey Billups is a head coach for the Portland Trailblazers. Terry Rozier, the point guard for the Miami Heat, and Damian Jones, assistant coach for the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's not a surprise. It's not a surprise. Being a former sports bettor myself, since there was a lot of shenanigans and monkey business going on to a lot of these NBA games. Some of the calls and the plays and some of it is just kind of questionable. And it's no surprise. Now, according to the investigation, these are separated incidents. They're not related. I know Chauncey Billups, what he was doing with was tied to the mob, and Terry Rozier was prop bets. Okay, so let's get off into this article. ESPN, Portland Trailblazers coach Chauncey Billups, Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier, and former Cleveland Cavaliers player, assistant coach Damian Jones, who was also a former NBA player, have been arrested as part of a pair of wide-ranging investigations related to illegal sports betting and rigged poker games backed by the mafia, authorities announced Thursday. Like I said, the Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups, from what I heard, they're not related. Chauncey Billups, what he was involved with was the rigged poker games that was backed by the mafia, and Terry Rozier had what he was involved in had to do with prop bets regarding the NBA, and that is illegal. You can gamble, you can bet, but you cannot be a part of any illegal gambling or any sports betting when it's tied to the sport that you're participating in. Boxing is different, but when it comes to basketball, you cannot bet on your own games. You can go to Vegas and play poker or blackjack, but you cannot bet on your games that you're involved with. Okay, those for you guys who don't know that when it comes to sports betting. Billups and Rozier have been placed on leave from their team, the NBA said in a statement. And from what I've heard is Terry Rozier, the NBA did an investigation on him for the past couple of years. They didn't find any significant evidence to, you know, ban him from the sport of basketball, but the FBI had their own separate investigation. Okay. So a total of 34 people were arrested as the result of years long investigation covering 11 states and involving tens of millions of dollars. FBI Director Kash Patel said. Law enforcement officials said the multiple charges involved 4 mafia families and organized crime networks, with Patel saying of the money involved that the fraud is mind-boggling. Rozier, who was arrested Thursday morning at a hotel in Orlando, Florida, is accused of participating in a illegal sports betting scheme using insider NBA information, just like I just said. As part of the scheme, gamblers use non-public information to bet on at least 7 NBA games between March 2023 and March 2024 involving the Charlotte Hornets, Orlando Magic, Trailblazers, Los Angeles Lakers, Toronto Raptors, according to the indictment. In 3 of the 7 games, players intentionally removed themselves from contests to benefit the gamblers' bet, according to the indictment, which is stupid. You play, you have a productive season, you get more money, which is going to come up more to the money that you're going to win in a particular prop bet in the NBA. It's ridiculous. The defendants had access to private information known by NBA players, or NBA coaches that would likely affect the outcome of games or players' performance, and provide that information to other co-conspirators in exchange for either a flat fee or a share of betting profits, according to the indictment. Let's not mince words, Patel said. This is the insider trading saga for the NBA. That's what it is. Okay, yeah, we know that. A U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of New York, Joseph Nocella Jr., called it one of the most brazen sports corruption schemes since online sports betting became widely legalized in the United States. I made a video about how I used to be a sports bettor, and I made decent money on that. That's what you want to do. You want to see who's not going to play, who's injured, who's in a shooting slump. You want to look for any insider tips and trading if you want to gain an advantage in sports betting. When I was doing sports betting on boxing, I would go as far as to look up fighters' amateur boxing record. Yes, I used to do that. And I would base it on who had the better amateur record. Boxing, typically, if you have an extensive background in boxing, if you have an extensive amateur boxing background, you tend to be the better fighter. Also, too, I will look at who was in a fighting slump, so to speak, or who had some knockouts, who had the most knockouts going into the fight. So you try to look for little advantages if you're going to be successful in sports betting. So it's the advantage if a player has knowledge that the average public don't have. Okay, it's not a guarantee because at the end of the day, gambling is luck, but it's all about gaining advantages. Okay, Billups, who was arrested in Oregon, is charged in a separate indictment, like I just said, alleging a wide-range scheme to rig underground poker games that were backed by mafia families, authorities said. The defendants are accused of using technology to steal millions from victims in the New York area. I don't know how that works. See, I don't know how that works with the poker. I don't know. Wasn't Gilbert Arenas arrested not too long ago regarding the same thing? So maybe he had something to do with it. Maybe he snitched and told on some folks. Maybe. I don't know. Did Gilbert Arenas snitch? Did Gilbert Arenas snitch on Chauncey Billups and Terry Rozier and other NBA athletes that was involved in this scheme? Did he? I don't know. Though Billups was not named in the sports betting indictment, the description of the co-conspirator who allegedly told a bettor that a number of Blazers players would miss a March 2023 game had a playing and coaching career that matches Billups. Billups and Rozier have been indicted on charges of wire fraud, conspiracy, and money laundering conspiracy. According to the Assistant U.S. Attorney Dan Hu, each count carries no more than 20 years in prison. Wow. Hours after the arrest, Rozier appeared in a federal court in Orlando, Florida, wearing a Charlotte Hornet sweatshirt, handcuffs, and shackles. Billups appeared before a judge in Portland, Oregon. Both men were ordered released from custody on certain conditions. Prosecutors in their detention memo asked a judge to impose substantial bail conditions on all defendants in their poker rigging case. Know that Billups has substantial financial resources. Okay, guys, you can go ahead and read this article in ESPN. And you guys see my comment section, and you guys let me know what you think. And guys, did you hear what happened to Diddy? Did you hear what happened to Diddy? Man.